All right. Hi and welcome. This is Vicki Draper with Healing Your Animal and podcast Animal Messages, what your animals want you to know. And I'm so delighted that we have guest, cat expert Nancy Howard with us today. And we're going to be talking about what to know about cats and kidneys. And Nancy is just a font of information. I interviewed Nancy for my book, Heart to Heart, How You Can Heal Your Animal Through All Stages of Life, and her interview is in the supporting kidneys section um, in this book. And there's way more than to be printed in the book, so happy to have you here. And So Nancy is the owner of the Whole Cat and Caboodle in Redmond, Washington. And you can see she is in the cat cafe portion in her store now. And also Nancy is founder and main or a big part of the Feral Care Sanctuary. And so cats that live out their lives. I'll let you tell a little bit more. That they just live out in comfort and in style, and you do such an awesome job with that. And there are some cats that you do bring into your store for adoption. Um, and I know with COVID, the sanctuary has not the sanctuary, sorry, the cafe. The sanctuary is going strong with the cats. um, but the cafes had to be temporarily closed. But when you go into the cafe, you get to see these cats that are all available for adoption and be with them, and all the proceeds of the entrance fee go to support the feral care. So you just have a lot going on. So I'll welcome Nancy.
Thank you, Vicki. I'm glad to be with you.
So I know kidneys and kidney disease is a big topic for me because when my heart cat Tasha, who lived to be over 19, when she got diagnosed with kidney disease, and I got on the path of learning all I could about it. And I want people to know now what I didn't know then and what I wish I had, because I could have given her even better quality of life with doing things differently from the onset. So with what are symptoms to people to be on the lookout that their cats might have kidney things going on?
Well, there's a couple of symptoms. The one that I think people probably see the most that they don't realize as a symptom is going to be drinking a lot of water. Cats are desert animals, desert dwellers. They have a naturally low thirst drive. So when you see your cat starting to drink a lot of water, it's because your cat's already dehydrated. And I think that's something that's really important to know. Sometimes people think that a cat drinking a lot of water means that it's okay for that cat to be eating dry food because they're getting enough water. And really, that couldn't be further from the truth. Healthy cats don't really drink a lot of water at all. Cats are designed to get their moisture from their prey, right? So in the desert, there's not a lot of water. Cats get their moisture from their prey. And the same should be true of cats in homes. So I'd say that that's a symptom that I look at for sure as one of the first things. The second thing is another thing that people don't really associate with kidney disease, and that is that cats on a dry food only diet, which is it's one of the one of the top three perpetrators of ischemic kidney disease, not acute, but ischemic, is cats that are on dry food. And we know that a cat eating dry food is a full 10% more dehydrated than cats eating canned and raw diet. Interestingly, at 4% dehydration, vets will start to administer subcutaneous therapies to help rehydrate the cat. But to me, the thing that's even more interesting is that at 2% dehydration, we'll start to see behavioral changes. So kidney disease definitely affects cognitive processing. The other thing that's affected that people don't realize is body temperature management. So those are three kind of weird things that you wouldn't, as people think the kidney disease, it's going to be just like blood in the urine or something like that. And it's really not. It's more profound than that. It's deeper than that.
Okay. And so you said behavior issues. So what are, like, if they're having some cognitive behavior, what are the behaviors that they might see?
So in human beings, it manifests as confusion. So it can be anything from uh, lots of meowing to missing the litter box to hair trigger aggression. It can be any of those things.
Okay. Okay. And so what, I know going to a traditional vet at the time with Tasha, what they recommended, and with my research, there's better information out there. And so, like the myth, well, you have to decrease protein with kidney issues, and that the kidneys are not going to gain back some of their function. And so I know you know all about that. So what would you like to share with people that might be getting that same diagnosis or protocol from a vet? What would you like to say?
That's a real tough one. I mean, and when I say tough, I mean it's hard on me, it's hard on my staff because we see it a lot.
Yeah.
So I just want to say this, that there's nowhere on the planet that dry food, that something indehiscent, something dry could ever be beneficial to a cat's kidneys. So I just want to say that. And then I want to take it to its purest level, and that is, if you're ever trying to figure out, how do I get my cat balanced again? How do I heal my animal from a, not a metaphysical side, which is the work that you do, but from a physical side, the only teacher, the only guide, the only physician that you should listen to first and foremost is Mother Nature, period, end of story. Because Mother Nature will give you all the information you need. So what would a cat eat in the wild? Well, is there ever a time when a cat eats a low protein diet? No, the answer is no. Now, they may be less successful at hunting, right? They may be getting smaller critters or be eating more bugs, more grasses and like that, but the percentage of protein in their diet does not change. And the myth about too much protein and reducing the amount of protein in a diet for a kidney cat, those studies were done on mice and rats. They weren't done on cats. And I don't know if people don't realize this, but cats are a different species from mice and rats. And so different species have different nutritional requirements that we can easily figure out what those nutritional requirements are by asking who? Mother Nature. It's just so simple. And when people ask me about things and, they're like, well, my vet says differently, or my breeder says differently, or this is what I read on the internet, I say, don't listen to any of us. Just hook into the Mother Nature model and let that be your guide, because Mother Nature is a zero, it's a zero sum game. It's Mother Nature does not have a dog in the fight, right? It's the truth. It is what it is. She doesn't make money off of getting your cats to eat raw food. It's just, she's going to say, here's what your cat is designed for. Therefore, the more you feed your animal what it's designed to eat, the less compensation the body has to do, ergo the less damage to the body. And it's just so simple. And when you were talking about buying back kidney function, right now the information is only anecdotal, not empirical, but there is ample anecdotal evidence to say that, I got a cat meowing at me, imagine that.
Yeah.
That raw food can actually buy back kidney function, because raw food is where the healing takes place. And the last thing I wanted to say about just kidney diets and the myth about too much protein in the diet is that it's not about the protein. itself, it's about how clean is the protein, because the kidneys can process clean protein all day long, as evidenced by the Mother Nature model, as evidenced by cats in the wild. But just because it says protein on your bag of food doesn't mean that that protein is bioavailable. In fact, if you look at the guaranteed analysis on the bag, the term that you'll read is going to be crude protein. So crude protein refers to the amount of protein that is in the bag, but it has nothing to do with the protein that is accessible to the body, bioavailable. So an example that I like to use is if you have leather shoes, they're 100% protein, but it's not bioavailable, right? Whereas if you were to eat a raw egg, you would have no body waste as a result of it because it's 100% bioavailable. The body deploys all of the ingredients from that raw egg. That's a clean protein, raw meat, clean protein. So you're looking for clean proteins. And I always associate clean with, unprocessed. And if you think about the Mother Nature model, is there a cleaner protein than a live, healthy field mouse? Well, there's not. So that's how I like to think about it. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Nice. Because yes, not all proteins are equated equal. And
Thank you.
The raw, which has the moisture that is healthy for the cats, is the best for their bodies. And then the next best would be some canned food. And what I've I feed raw to my cats, Spirit and Sapphire, who are now 5. And I always even add just a little bit of water to it because after Tasha having the kidney issues, it's like I just want to make sure they're getting that moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing about the kidney?
Yes, please do.
Well, dry food is one of the is in the top 2 things that that create kidney disease. Also in the top 3, I will say, are vaccines. So I don't think people realize that over vaccinating your cat will cause kidney disease. And the reason for that is because of the way that the blood is processed through the kidneys. And, we know that vaccines work through the circulatory system. So what I recommend is, it's so controversial, but I'm not a big fan of vaccinating cats past their original vaccines and boosters. And if you're ever concerned about, well, do I know if my cat is still is immunized? You can run a blood test called a titer that will tell you what antibodies and antigens are still available to your cat without going through the dangers of vaccinating your cat. So sometimes we get those notes in the mail from our vet, it's time to vaccinate your cat. Well, yes, you can think about it like this. It's time to check whether your immunities are still available. But there's no reason to believe that immunities go away ever, let alone within 1 or 3 years. So more about that later. That's not what we're talking about this time. But if we're talking about kidney health, not over immunizing your animal not over vaccinating your animal is definitely a way to manage good kidney health.
Is a factor too. Okay, so those are the 2 big ones, the vaccinations and the dry food?
That's right.
Okay, very good to know. I did a podcast with Leah Hauser, about vaccines and over vaccinating and the titer. So for people that want to learn more about that, you can go to that episode and learn even more. And
fantastic.
We'll look at having Nancy back for even more hot, juicy topics. Because like I said, so tell us a little bit about, so with the kidney stuff, you've answered what for them to look for, and then the vet can get the diagnosis, how they can do preventative stuff, and what they can do if they get the diagnosis. And so that's awesome. So I'd like to now talk a little bit about how you got into working with cats um, and share a little bit more. I know you have kittens for adoptions, and so if you'd like to share a little bit more about your store and how you help people, and if they've got questions, how they can reach you. So just tell us about, right, a little bit about Whole Cat and the feral care.
Sure, I'd be glad to. So both feral care and the Whole Cat and Caboodle tend to work with animals that are disenfranchised, marginalized, misunderstood. So we do a lot of rehabilitation at both my sanctuary and my store. The cats that we get in for adoption, yes, we definitely get in beautiful, healthy, fun kittens. We love that. The kittens that we have in our store right now came from a kitty cat who's also here available for adoption. Her name is Tess. She's beautiful. Tess came to us because she was on the kill list at a Southern California shelter because she was both pregnant and Black, which is kind of weird. So we took her in up here. She had her babies. So now her babies and she are all available for adoption. They've all been spayed, neutered, tested, vaccinated. So they're all ready to go. But we get a lot of cats in that are surrendered by families where the cat's not a good match for the family. And I can teach people how to reestablish balance with the cat. But often by the time people come to us, they've reached the end of the road. They don't want to invest anymore in the cat emotionally, financially, resource wise. So those are the cats that we take in. And I a lot of times feel like the cat has also reached the end of its rope. And so when we take those cats in, everybody gets a fresh start. My great hope is that as we have made our suggestions for those relationship rehabilitations, that people understand that these are things that we recommend if you move forward to adopt another cat, because cats, there are immutable truths that apply to every single cat. Do you want me to tell you what they are?
I do.
Here are the 4 immutable truths that apply to every. All right. Obligate carnivores designed to thrive on the flesh of other animals, ill-equipped to deal with much else. Cats originated out of the desert, right? So their bodies are designed to eat their moisture, not drink it. The third thing is that cats are crepuscular in nature, which means that they're designed to hunt and eat at dusk and dawn. And the fourth thing, and the thing that informs the bulk of the cat's behavior, is that cats are prey animals. And so unless and until they feel safe, they're going to act in a defensive manner. So, and those things are going to be true of any animal, not just the animal that you're having a problem with, but any future cat that might come into your home. So anyway, when we get those cats into our store, the first thing that we do is we put them on a species appropriate diet, which is going to be canned and working them always into raw food. We take a look at, what is their real nature? Do they like to be alone? Do they like to interact? Do they like to be with other cats? Do they need CBD as a method of fully decompressing? Do we call in Vicki Draper to find out what is broken, what needs to be healed, what needs to be understood, what needs to be seen, what needs to be heard? That's a gift that I know all your listeners have probably worked with you in one way or another, but I can do a lot with cats. I know and understand them. I can't not see the world from the cat's perspective, but Vicki you bring a layer of understanding that is just really a gift. And because of that, there hasn't been a cat that we haven't been able to adopt out and successfully. That's the thing. These cats get into these environments and they thrive. And oh boy, my sanctuary does tend to be more of an end of the road situation. It's cats that really can't be adopted, either because they're on the feral spectrum and they choose not to want to be in relationship with humans, which is totally fine, or it's been things like house soiling or hair trigger aggression that makes them difficult to adopt out. And rather than keeping them in our adoption center for forever, we moved them to our sanctuary, which is 5,000 square feet of space where these cats can pee with impunity and can interact with our volunteers all day long if and when they choose to. So they get kind of the best of all worlds. And so those are the kinds of cats that we work with.
All right. Yes, I have visited your sanctuary, and for my listeners, will when I teach my Reiki classes, that in the second level they learn to work distantly, and so Nancy, you provide some cats that could benefit, and so our students work with the cats, and then you provide the shifts you see, so they get the feedback. They're not meeting the cats in person. And then my Reiki master students, we do a field trip there and work with the sanctuary and the cats. And I love your sanctuary because the grounds are just, it feels like a magical energy there. And so, you know, so the cats are just blessed in that sanctuary. It's a very
really
good
property.
Yeah, it's a very good home. It's a very good life for them. And you and the volunteers take such good care of them. And it's so obvious.
Thank you.
And so for the listeners, Nancy's store, you can visit Nancy and see Nancy in person in Redmond, Washington at the Whole Cat and Kaboodle. She can help you with your cat and your cat's needs. And if you're wanting a new furry kitty into your home, Nancy is the place to go because she has given the loving care and, like she said, rehabilitated or making sure they are ready for a new loving home. And I tell you, the kitties that I've come in and helped support and work with, they are just so precious. And it's just heartwarming to for the ones that need my attention, give that extra boost, and then see them happily going to a new home.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways you can support the Feral Care Sanctuary, if you are so inclined, one easy way I do is through Amazon. I'm already purchasing things, and so I do the Amazon Smile, and so then Amazon automatically does a donation to Feral Care, and so that's just an easy way to integrate it into your life that you're already doing. And if you want to go further, Nancy, would you like to share how they can support the Feral Care?
Sure. You're welcome to come out and volunteer on Sundays. That's our big volunteer day to play with the cats and help with different projects. We often have, or not often, but annually, we have big work parties if you like getting your hands dirty. And you're also welcome to donate anytime. If you go to our website, there's a donate here button, of course.
Okay. Your website is?
Oh, my apologies, feralcaresanctuary.org. That's my 501c3. And we are a licensed 501c3, so it is a tax deductible donation. And if you're interested in what's happening at the Whole Cat and Kaboodle, our web address is thewhole-cat.com. And if you go to that site, you'll also be able to see all the cats that we have available for adoption right now.
Yeah, and don't wait too long if there's one that's taking your heart, because they go quick.
Yeah.
Great. And then I know you, before the pandemic, the COVID, you were doing a No Bad Cat class in person. And I know you did one over Facebook Live, but I haven't kept up. Do you have a No Bad Cat class coming up? Are they?
We do, but I don't have a date for it yet.
Okay.
So if you watch our website, you'll see when the date comes up for that, and we'll definitely share it with you, Vicki, so that you can share it with your followers as well.
Nice. Because yes, I've taken it twice, I believe, because there's just so much information, and each class is a little different. There's a lot of similar information, but it's something, you can't take too much because there's a lot to learn, and Nancy has a lot of good information. So
can I say where the name of the class came from?
Yes.
So we call it No Bad Cats, and here's why. There's this saying that I absolutely love, and it goes like this: if you knew the reason behind the bad behavior, it wouldn't make you angry, it it would break your heart. And so we believe that any bad behavior is the result of an unmet need. And you can apply that to your children, your spouse, your boss, your coworkers. Any bad behavior means that there's a need that's not being met. And our job, like what Vicki and I both do, is we try to get people to understand how a cat thinks, or in Vicki's case, any animal, because they are a different species, and they process in a different way. Humans process through ego, and animals process through instinct. So, it's always wonderful to get the gift of perspective. And so if you work with someone like Vicki or me, you get that gift of perspective that helps you to understand your animal better, let you know what it is that they're thinking, and be assured that they're not doing something because they're angry or because they don't like you. The animals don't function that way. It's always that there's a need that's not being met. And we can help you see that need so that you can figure out what you can do to meet that need.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me say that. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
absolutely. I'm so glad you did, because that's exactly what this message and the podcast is all about, is really coming from the animal's point of view, because people don't always get that. And so that's just perfect. And it is heartbreaking and so that's one of the benefits of the animal communication, is I can help get people on the same page. And that's what you do too, from a different angle. I mean,
right.
Same way, because you understand cats and the physicalness and that stuff. And they're telling me personally, and well, they're telling you in the ways you know how to read it, and they're telling me and how I do. And then when the people,
I understand it through their behavior, and you understand it through them actually communicating it to you through their pictures and through their messaging.
Yeah.
What could be better than that?
And so that's when we get the people and their cat on that same page, it's like the relationship is just beautiful to and unfold and harmonious, and you really have the relationship you want with your cat.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here with us. And you may have already done this. It's like, is there one last burning thing you want to tell people, that from your cat's perspective, that they may want to know as a takeaway? So you may have already done this, like I said, but if there's something.
Well, I am going to do just one more shout out.
Okay.
And that is this. What you feed your animal is going to affect your animal. Cats are designed to eat a diet of meat and moisture. Dry food will always cost the cat's body more than it contributes. Canned food is an excellent maintenance diet. Raw food is where the healing takes place. And if anyone needs any help in understanding this or transitioning, there's a really great website out there called catinfo.org, one of my favorites, or rawfedkitty.com. That's another great one, or littlebigcat.com. All those are great websites that are veterinary based. But if anyone needs any help from just a regular old layperson like me, we're more than willing to help you make things better.
Nice. Yeah, I tell a lot of people about you. So I'm happy you're here, that they can see you in person here and get this wonderful information firsthand. So thank you again. And so Nancy's store is the Whole Cat and Kaboodle in Redmond, Washington, and her feral care sanctuary. You support that by going to the store and going in and visiting the kitties, and even probably the adoption and adopting and helping the cats get new homes. They're wonderful forever homes. And there truly are no bad cats, because your store is full of love and a perfect example of that. And so for those of you that may be new to me, I'm Vicki Draper with healingyouranimal.com, and I do private sessions and I teach classes, so you can always get in touch with me on my website, www.healingyouranimal.com, and happy to see if what I have can help you and your needs. And Nancy's a part of my resource team, getting the best care for the cats. So thank you for tuning in to Animal Messages, what your animals want you to know, with the topic of what to know about cats and kidneys. See you next time.